Yes Have Some podcast is brought to you by Carnivorous Creations, your one-stop shop for all of your proton pack building needs. If you're in the market for a proton pack, head to carnivorouscreations.com. That's carnivorous with a K. You're going to find aluminum motherboards, resin parts, fiberglass shells, and a whole lot more. Find them on Facebook at Carnivorous Creations or head straight to carnivorouscreations.com. Remember, carnivorous with a K, and get started on an authentic, screen-accurate proton pack.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
I don't want to grow up bomb. Do you want some?
Jurassic Park. Now playing the PS7.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bomber, neutron blaster, and water zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
A what?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Fuck budget, you guys.
It's 84. It's episode 84. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 84.
Trouble with fuck budgeting.
Trouble with the fuck budget. Of,
we
Yes
already
Some
have
podcast.
a title.
Yep. Hi everybody, how's everybody doing this week?
We're doing great.
You asking me? I'm fine.
Well, you're everybody.
Was that like to them or was
You're
it to me?
somebody.
Or?
Listen,
I just spoke
Thank
for
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
so,
Craig.
guys, I'm sorry, first of all. How is everyone individually?
we'll wait for all of our listeners to answer.
Okay. We'll just wait.
We'll wait.
Emails only, no texting.
Yes, please. For the love of God, do not text me.
Handwritten letters, actually.
Hi everybody, welcome to Yes Have Some podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. I am here with your hosts Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh. And
What's up, guys?
We got a jam-packed episode, I feel like. We're starting late. Mm-hmm. We had 20 minutes.
I'd say this episode is fuller than it usually is.
Well, hopefully.
of content.
Yeah, because this is our Fuller House episode.
Yes,
so.
thank
Basically.
God. We're reviewing all 3 seasons of Fuller House right here. Mm-hmm. No, we got a special guest coming up a little bit later. Do we want to even tell them? I guess they'll know if they're listening.
Just did.
I mean, we kind of were posting about it already today, on social media. So I think they know.
When Yes Have Some podcast started, we talked a lot of Ghostbusters because if we know anything, it's Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. And even that's questionable. We know Ghostbusters.
Dude, we know Ghostbusters.
We're versed.
We versed.
Yeah.
We're the verse.
Dude, first of all, people do know that Kurt Fuller's going to be on the show because we put the call out on Twitter and then had a lot of retweets, and then that's how we got him to interact, and that's how we got him on the show. So
you think he answered the call?
Yeah, I think
He answered the call,
Dude,
right?
we're having Kurt Fuller on to talk.
Are we
Strictly answer the call.
Are we gonna I hope that's the first thing we ask him was all right, what did you think?
Right.
Dude, I wrote
I
that
hope that's
question
what we're
down,
gonna do.
so that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to dig into.
For those of you who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, Kurt Fuller is an actor, a pretty well-known actor. He's been in a ton of stuff,
Everything, yeah.
Over 100 acting credits over the last 20, 30 years. We know him best as Jack Hardemeyer from Ghostbusters 2, who, the mayor's assistant, kind of the foil to Bill Murray.
Yeah.
The Walter Peck of Ghostbusters 2. Mm-hmm. And a very memorable character. And we're going to talk to him. It's going to be great. We specifically asked him on to talk about his experience making Ghostbusters 2, but he's had a really long career. He's on that show Psych, or he was.
Mm-hmm. He's in Wayne's World.
God, he's in Wayne's World. Mm-hmm. He's in No Holds Barred. Mm-hmm. So he's been around the block. We were just watching some clips of his on YouTube. And Jake, do you remember him in Scary Movie?
No, I don't.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen Scary Movie in so long.
Yeah.
Probably since it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
So in Scary Movie, he plays the sheriff. And
there might be a reason why it's not re-aired all the time. There's some stuff that's not
sometimes movies from the year 2000 don't always
play as well.
There's some non-PC stuff going on.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
But he's great. We're really excited to have him on, and we appreciate the time that he will be spending with us.
Mm-hmm.
And
talking about Scary Movie.
And so that's gonna be good. That's coming up, and I guess we just need to get down to the nitty-gritty right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to waste. It's episode 84.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for the segment that everybody's been waiting for. What was that look? You just gave me a look.
Well, I mean, we all hung out this weekend.
I don't want to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, we're moving past.
We can talk about it.
Okay.
Well, do you want to enlighten our customers?
Well, we went to the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. They played Jurassic Park, and the orchestra played the music along with it, and it was special. Had a good time.
It was really special.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen a movie like that before, where they have the orchestra playing the score live to the film. I dare say it exceeded my expectations. Jake, what did you think?
I thought it was amazing. The movie's amazing. I could have been just in a room alone watching Jurassic Park and crying, but instead I was watching like an entire symphony orchestra like play this music that, you know, you've been listening to for the last 25 years of my life. And it was you know, it felt special to be able to sit and watch. You know, that's one of my top 3 favorite films of all time. And it was really great. We had really good seats. We were up pretty close, and you know, I used to be in band, and I really loved it. So like, it was cool. It was cool getting to watch the movie in a different way and to hear all that music live. It was amazing.
Yeah, dude. I feel the same way. I got some Raptor Punch, which was decent. I got the non-alcoholic Raptor Punch.
You should leave a Yelp
I also
review.
paid for some Skittles, which I didn't grab, and I was very upset about once the movie started. But I had forgotten all about the Skittles by the time like the theme kicks in when they're like in the helicopter about to land, and I was crying, and I was like, oh my god,
right,
this is so beautiful. And yeah, dude, it was a really special thing to get to go together, to dress up, to hang out with friends. We got some dinner afterwards, so yeah, I think it deserves a mention.
It deserves a mention.
Yeah.
For anybody, I'm sure different orchestras do this. I know in Boston they did the Jaws score last year, and in Atlanta, the Atlanta Symphony does. It's like a film series, so they've done Back to the Future, and coming up they're doing A New Hope and some Harry Potter movies. And I would not pass up seeing a John Williams score performed live to the film. It's a really unique and special experience, and I don't know, man. Jurassic Park is so good.
Dude, it's so good that I felt bad for the people in the orchestra who were playing behind the screen that couldn't see it and watch it while it was playing. I was like, man, I just have to like.
What if there was somebody? What if there was somebody in that band who like hadn't seen the movie ever, and they were just like, "Well, I'm still not watching this movie." They got to sit there and listen to it.
I'll never know what
however many times. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I'm very familiar with the music. I have no idea what happens in that movie. What do they go to, some sort of zoo? That's a zoo I would go to. And like when you watch a movie that's really special and means a lot to you, that you've been watching your entire life, and you get to not only see it on the big screen, but it's kind of a shared experience.
Yeah, it's like interactive. I was thinking that, like when the scene comes on with the T-Rex breakout, when you see the water like kind of do the thing where it shakes.
The water does the thing.
You know, the water does the thing. Like I grabbed my little Raptor Punch and like held it up, like you're all like kind of having like, you know, did like the little shake for like when it happens, while it's happening. Like it's the closest thing to like going to like I imagine like a sports game or something. Like as a fan of sports,
it
like
is.
To be there and
it's
to be
like
doing
seeing,
it.
It's like what maybe the common man would say, why spend money to go watch it when you can watch it in the comfort of your own home? And to that common man, I say, step off, George.
Yeah.
Do you guys have my Seinfeld reference?
But here's my question though. Like, what? Someone explain what sports is to me.
Okay, so you've got like a couple. You got teams.
All right, I can do this. Jake, I can explain sports to you.
Okay.
You've seen Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like you watch Jaws and you love it, and you root for the shark, but you also root for. Guys, this is going nowhere. I'm about to waste a lot of time.
No, but I do want to see Jaws performed with a live orchestra.
I do want to see that
super
too.
Sick.
Right.
I do want to. I feel
that's
like
where this was all going.
So, like, you know how like a lot of sports teams now, maybe you guys don't know this, but to fund the leagues, they'll have sponsors like on the jerseys. That's why you'll see like a soccer team with a Red Bull logo.
Got it.
Okay.
I want to see like the Orlando Magic have to be sponsored by Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And they just have like, and they have to rename their their team to like the Orlando Confrontations.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Or the Orlando Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
I might get into sports then.
That would be a lot of fun. But listen, so before before Jack joins us, let's talk to him in character.
Yeah.
So
right? Just be mean to him the whole time?
Hey,
Definitely.
he calls in and we're like, hey, so right off the bat, what's your problem, man?
Hey, was it hard to get another job after the mayor fired you? Like,
yeah. What was that like?
And we do
here's what I want to know. How was it so easy to get 4 grown famous men who saved New York institutionalized?
Yeah.
That's the deleted scene.
How'd you
I
pull
want
that
to see.
off? Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had him committed. Is it that easy?
Yeah.
No
paperwork.
Dude.
You just say, "Hey, these guys are crazy," and they're like, "All right, I guess."
Maybe it had to do with the fact that Bill
Murray calls him a hard-on.
Yeah, well,
and
there's
then
that.
deleted scene?
And there's also the fact that Bill Murray's brother is he's the doctor, so maybe he got the inside scoop. Maybe he's like, hey,
who also co-stars with him in Wayne's World.
Oh, Brian Doyle?
Brian Doyle
Yeah.
Murray.
It's it's fresh, it's Noah's Arcade.
Are we to do a little fan fiction here and theorize that Brian Doyle Murray's character from Ghostbusters 2 is Noah?
Yeah. Maybe it is. Whoa. His whole life he just wanted to own an arcade.
That's fantastic.
Another fun fact, Brian Doyle Murray plays the mayor of New York in Ghostbusters, the video game.
The game, yeah.
Wow.
Guys, I'm canceling the podcast.
This is crazy.
My mind.
We're just going to talk about this.
Guys,
we're in the game.
We're in the game. But before we get to our special guest tonight, we got a little fuck budget to do.
Fuck. I don't give a fuck.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
You guys ready?
Okay.
Yeah, I heard Jake was stressed out.
Yeah, Jake. Before we get started, what's your stress level on this fuck budget?
I'll tell you why I'm stressed about the fuck budget. Usually, like 4 out of the 5 topics I don't give a fuck about.
Right.
Yeah.
And then tonight there were more than one that I wanted to give more fucks about, but could not because I wanted to give fucks to some of the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. We only get the 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait, I thought we had 10 fucks.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you get 10 fucks.
I fucked this up.
Nah, dude, it's all good.
Wait, should we only
fucked this up?
Double your fucks?
I only got 5 here.
Just double them.
This is what
for
we do.
each, whatever
Jesus Christ.
Just multiply by 2. Even if it's a 0, multiply that by 2.
And then that'll
still be 0.
Are you doing some
Yes,
live
have
math?
some math.
The podcast.
I don't like this.
I don't like it at all. But you know
guys.
what?
Hey, you know what?
Yo,
I'm sticking with my 5 fucks this week.
There you go.
Okay.
Everybody gives a fuck. For those of you who have not been initiated, the Yes Have Some Fuck Budget is the fun, family-friendly, wholesome segment that we do almost every week here. And what we do is we got 5 topics, and we go over them.
5 or 10 fucks.
5 or 10 fucks to give. These are relevant news stories, topics, movies, music. Usually not music. I always say that every week. Movies and music. We've never had anything related to music.
Yeah.
But what we do is we go over the latest happenings in the world of pop culture and entertainment and nostalgia series like Jurassic Park, Jaws, Terminator, Ghostbusters, things of that nature. And we ask how many fucks you give. Mm-hmm. Guys, I have to get better at explaining this.
We call
maybe quicker.
Yeah, the week's news stories that are relevant to our interests, and then we decide how much we care about them.
Oh, right.
And how many
right.
fucks we give. And that's the whole point.
Hey.
Yeah.
What she said.
It's good.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
It's time for the Yes Have Some, episode 84. Do you give a fuck? Are you guys ready for number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Concept artist Tully Summers, which is a great name, by the way, recently released a bunch of Ghostbusters Answer the Call concept art. It was posted on Proton Charging, which is the long-time running website, Ghostbusters fan site from Chris Stewart, friend of the podcast and host of the Ghostbusters Interdimensional Crossword podcast. Cool. Hey, what was that? Cool dude?
Cool dude, Chris.
And it was posted on Bloody Disgusting, and all these concept images were released from Answer the Call, and it's interesting because there was a lot of people that worked on Answer the Call. There was a lot of concept artists brought in, just like a lot of movies, but most of the stuff has never seen the light of day. There wasn't an art book, and I wanted to know, Abigail and Jake, how many fucks do you give about this Ghostbusters Answer the Call concept art? Abigail, you go first.
I give one fuck. I wrote it still hurts because I just when I see Answer the Call stuff, I'm just not sure how I feel. I didn't love the majority of the artwork. I liked some of it and I thought it was interesting. But yeah, my interest level just regarding stuff coming out from Answer the Call is it brings up like some weird emotions, and so but also I give one fuck because it is Ghostbusters, so I do care, and Was
there anything in there that stuck out that you liked?
I thought that there's one image, and I think it's like the version 3 of the. It just says
we should talk about that. The Comic-Con ghost.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a raven or like some sort of a bird, like dragon crossover thing with like an insectile looking like behind. It's kind of neat, and I like that.
Just for context, when the original script, the scene where they're at the concert, the original script had them at like a Comic-Con, and not a rock concert, which, in my opinion, would have been a lot cooler. I think there's more you could do with that.
Mm-hmm. What? Didn't that have something to do with another movie like Ted or something? The sequel to Ted, like having the same plot in their movie, so they didn't do it.
The big budget Sony tentpole was bested by Ted 2.
There you go.
So there you go.
Woo!
Woo-wee!
Jacob Walsh, when it comes to this concept art, how many fucks do you give?
First of all, I want to say that in that short period of time, I have rearranged my fuck budget to fit a little better with the 10 fucks, so we're good.
I was getting really stressed because I hate math.
You know what? I originally had it for 1, but when I realized I had 5 extra fucks, I gave this 2 fucks because, first of all, like, concept art is always fun. I think no matter whether it's stuff that you wish they would have done, or even if you hate it, it's just fun to look at concept art, and it's fun to see, just where people's minds were and the ideas they had. And on top of that, it's Ghostbuster artwork, and even though maybe we don't like love Answer the Call, it's still some like behind the scenes Ghostbuster stuff that's cool. And I was never a big fan of like the whole Slimer is a gangster kind of thing.
Right.
I've always thought that idea was stupid, but it's still cool to see that artwork. I don't think that Slimer looks great. Like, he's super scary and looks like an alien, but it's just cool to see other versions of things that didn't happen. Some of the artwork I like. There's some weird ideas in there. I think some of the ghosts are kind of cool. But I mean, I'm glad the Slimer didn't happen. I'm glad those vehicles didn't happen.
Well, I want to chime in for a second. I do want to clarify one thing. The art itself looks good. Like, Tully Summers is whoever.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar.
No, the art is well done.
Definitely.
It's just when I say it didn't look good, I just mean like that's not the design of Slimer I would ever want to see in a movie.
Because in the original, one of the original pitches had an origin story for Slimer.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like going to be a gangster who is a ghost, and then he gets his arms blown off and kind of becomes Slimer. Like the proton streams blow up the arms or whatever. And I think that could be a cool origin story for another ghost, but maybe not Slimer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird to see like, hey, this is the Slimer you could have had. It's just same with those vehicles. Like, those vehicles don't seem like something that would ever work in a Ghostbusters film.
Right.
But it's just still cool to look at. It's still cool to be like, oh, this is like somebody worked on this.
I kind of like the Ecto 2 like conversion van Batmobile
with the bike on the side and shit.
I mean, because I have an affinity to those old vans from the early '90s that had like a you had like a Super Nintendo in
Ford
there.
Aerostar. Yeah. Oh, like the souped up kind. Yeah, with like the lights and stuff and TV screens.
So I just like vans, I think.
Craig just likes vans. Fine.
I like vans. What's interesting about that Ecto 2 design is the color palette is very much not like anything else in the movie. It's very like gray and silver and futuristic looking. And it literally looks like it has like a Dark Knight tumbler coming out of the front.
It's so super out of place with anything else.
Right.
That, did make it into the movie that I wonder if at that point, if just everything was different. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people first thought when there was going to be a third Ghostbusters that everything would maybe be like kind of apple-fied and like smooth and shiny and and I wonder if that was from back, from that kind of idea.
Right. The proton packs would just be little iPhones.
They're just they're just like
that
rings or something.
Yeah.
Futuristic, yeah.
But I will kind of add on to that sentiment, Jake. No matter what, it's always cool to see the what if concept art for any film. I know when we had...
Oh, is that you adding on, or is that you just saying word for word what I just said?
It's honestly, I wrote down what you said, and I was like, I'm just going to say this again.
I'm just going to add this on.
When we had on our guest a couple months ago, Carlos Huante, who is a concept artist, we got a lot of insight into what that process is, and the fact is, a lot of the time, like, majority of the stuff is just... It's not used.
Yeah.
They hire a bunch of concept artists to do a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. The directors.
Well, when you're trying to match something that's like deep inside of somebody's imagination that they have to articulate, like there's a lot of like guess and check and like throwing shit against the wall. So I imagine
it's like he does like his own. The artist is like up all night sweating, trying to come up with his own version of Slimer, and he puts his heart and soul into it, and then like. They're like, hey, how about this instead? It's just Slimer from Real Ghostbusters.
It's just Slimer.
It's just this one's better.
Let's just go with this one from 20 years ago.
And a skeleton.
Well, cool. Well, thank you guys for that. Do you guys want to move on this little fuck budget here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Number 2. Oh, this one hurts. It was announced today that due to the recent bankruptcy filings by Toys R Us, our beloved Toys R Us, 182 stores across the United States are closing down. Abigail Gardner, when it comes to the Toys R Us closures, how much do you give a fuck?
I give 182 fucks. No, I don't have. For every store. I don't have that many fucks to give. I have 6 fucks that I've listed. Wow. I wrote "end of an era" because I'm so sad. This is like the end of it, man.
They're not all closing.
They're not all closing, but it's like, didn't that? I don't remember if this is how Blockbuster, how exactly they went down, but didn't it? There may still be some of those that are still open. But I remember when that announcement hit, it's like, things are changing. And it's like, I want that tactile in-store experience. I'm super stressed because the 2 Toys R Us's that we tend to hit the most are closing. There is one that's, like, nearby. It is my childhood one, so I'm very, like, grateful that it's safe. But it just stresses me out. Yeah.
I think the whole thing about this is that with Amazon and Target and Walmart being the leaders in the toy industry now. Like, Walmart has been the leading toy retailer in the United States for years. Like, Toys R Us has not been at the front of the pack in a very long time. And it's just hard now. The joke I made at work today was because I noticed that a lot of the smaller towns are keeping their Toys R Us's. That's because the smaller towns haven't got Amazon yet. They haven't figured it out.
Yeah, the internet.
The internet's tough around those towns. Mm-hmm. Sorry if you live in a small town, Jake. But you. Jake, I know your Toys R Us is safe. How many fucks do you give about this?
I gave it 4. Because even though mine is safe, it's exactly what Abby said. It's been scary to not know the fate of fucking Toys R Us, right. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't sound good when you hear that almost 200 stores are getting closed down, because you're like, okay, but then what? Is it going to be 6 months before another 100 close down? Or I don't even know how many will be left at that point.
Right.
But it is scary because it's fucking Toys R Us. I want to be able to go into a Toys R Us and buy toys. I would rather, even though I know that I can just get on Amazon and have that figure in 2 days.
Cheaper.
Probably fucking cheaper.
No,
I would rather just go into the store, and I want to be able to go into the store and toy hunt.
Damn it.
And we've grown up spending our lives in Toys R Us, and I don't want that to go away. So it's, it just sucks to think that they're having so many problems, and that might be where this is heading. So, yeah, I gave 4 fucks about it. My store is staying, but, my store, like my Toys R Us, Valdosta is not the biggest place, and it's not a tiny town. Like, it does well, but it does well, listen to me. But like, our stores, like Toys R Us, Best Buy, they're like smaller versions than what, like, when I go to Toys R Us with you guys, I'm always like, what the fuck is this? Why is this Toys R Us 3 times is big. I went into it the first time I went into a Best Buy that wasn't the Valdosta Best Buy.
Yeah.
It was so big that I literally Googled it to see if I was in the biggest Best Buy in the world.
Oh my God.
And then I just found out, no, I just live by the smallest Best Buy in the world.
At the Toys R Us in Valdosta, Jeffrey the giraffe has a really short neck.
Yeah.
Toys R Us is a major part of our childhood. I mean, just things like the grand openings of the stores and like going out and like meeting all the characters, and Slimer would be there, and like you'd meet Jeffrey the giraffe, and like just going to buy video game. We should do a whole Toys R Us retrospective, like the experience of going and getting that NES game ticket and walking to the glass booth full of all the games, and then like the Super Toy Run sweepstakes they would do with Nickelodeon. It feels like the beginning of the end of an era, and it really is.
Every time I was behind a shopping cart as a kid, I would pretend I was on a Super Toy Run.
As a kid?
Dude,
or
still,
now?
all the time now. I just run down the aisles.
Like yesterday?
Now, I will say this. All of the ones that are closing are going to be doing major closeout sales. And the way those usually work is like the first couple weeks, everything in the store will be 30% off. And then it goes to 40, 50, 60. And like by the time you're at bottom of the barrel, they're basically like, please take... Like they start selling the shelves and stuff.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. We need to get jobs there so that when they are closing, we can get uniforms, get in on that advertising...
I legitimately tried to get a job at Toys R Us one time. Oh, yeah. Just for the discount. Yeah.
I mean, listen, one of my fondest memories that my mom tells me happened is when the first Kenner RGB figures were out, my mom, the Stay Puft was really hard to find. My mom waited at 4 a.m. at Toys R Us for the trucks to start unloading so she could give me a Stay Puft figure. Aww. And that's like...
Wow.
That's some stress there.
Well, that's not going to happen ever again if Amazon and everything.
My mom got up at 4 a.m. to order me a Stay Puft figure that she could have just slept
from bed. Then she went right back to sleep.
That she could have just told Siri, like, "Hey, order this at midnight."
So I will say this: I want to. Abby had this idea earlier. We need to do the Yes Have Some Toys R Us farewell tour, where we make videos of us going to all these Toys R Us closeouts, talking to the staff, getting some toys.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. But you know what? There will be time for discount toys soon enough. Right now, we're on to the next part of our fuck budget. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
It was reported today that Netflix is officially in talks to grab the Cloverfield movie God Particle from Paramount and release it directly to Netflix sometime very soon. When it comes to a third Cloverfield movie being released on Netflix and not in the theaters, Abby, how many fucks do you give?
I gave that one fuck. It sounds like trouble to me. Like, honestly, from the article that I read about this, it said that, like, the cut of the movie was, like, extremely long, and it's been, like, in, like, kind of on the shelf for, what, like, a year or more?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out, like, 6 months ago.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I do care about it because I like J.J. Abrams, and, like, I like the last, I like 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I like the original. So I do have some interest in that, and I do care. But also, you know, I mean, who knows? Netflix is pretty decent when it comes to pulling things off, especially recently. So I have faith and hope, but also it sounds like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't a perfect movie, or maybe there was some trouble, so.
Yeah. Jake?
Yo, I gave it 3.
Okay. Okay.
Because it does sound like trouble, and that sucks because the first 2 Cloverfield movies are great. And I remember when the 3 of us saw the second Cloverfield, we were all like, we talked about how refreshing it was and how cool it was to get a franchise that was connected in such a weird way. You know, it was like, you know, almost like Tales from the Crypt episodes or something, where they don't have to be, you know, exactly connected to each other. And I was very excited about finding out, like, oh, we're gonna get more of these. There's gonna just be Cloverfield movies, and they're all gonna be different. And, you know, the small things we've heard about the plot sounds cool, like, you know, just it being in space and stuff like that. And it did get pushed back like 2 or 3 times. And then one of the articles I read said that part of the reason may be because J.J. Abrams, you know, unexpectedly is now doing another Star Wars movie that he didn't, that just kind of got dropped on him and it might have pushed other projects to the
that kind
side.
of stuff never gets dropped on me. Like the things that get dropped on me is like, oh, here's a bill I didn't know I had to pay.
Yeah.
Where'd that $50 in my account go? Like, no, I never wake up and goes, guys, I can't do the podcast tonight. I have to go direct Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah. But I mean, it's stressful because that's a franchise that I like the way it was going, and I was hoping to see more of those in the theater. And going straight to Netflix like that, I don't know if it's going to kill it. You know, I mean, a lot of movies are made especially for Netflix now, so it could be fine, but it's hard to tell until it comes out. I'm worried about it. I want to see those movies. Those are the kind of movies you want to see in a theater, like weird science fiction.
Original
like that's
content.
what you want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm stressed out about it.
Dude, I feel you.
Yeah, I, when we first heard about it, like the thought of just more Cloverfield movies and that series going on and getting original stories that are kind of under the umbrella of a cool franchise. Man,
yeah.
I hope
well
it's
acted,
great.
like good music, tension. Like I enjoyed those movies both.
It could be the kind of thing that like Netflix just wants to keep releasing its own content, and that is available right now, and they're just going after it. It might not be a negative.
Right.
I think the streaming services have proven over the last little while that they can put out great content, and like being direct to video or direct to streaming that doesn't have the same negative connotation as it used to. So
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of secret sequels, Dundee, the surprise sequel to the Crocodile Dundee franchise, starring Chris Hemsworth and Danny McBride, is not real.
Okay.
We kind of suspected this from the beginning. There's been 2 trailers. When it comes to surprise sequels that end up being Super Bowl commercials, Jacob Walsh, how many fucks do you give?
I gave it 0.
No, yeah.
Okay, but then you added some fucks after the fact. How many did it get?
It's this one. This is the only one that was unaffected by the amount of fucks when I realized I had 10.
Yeah.
It was 0 before, and it's 0 now.
By your surge in fucks?
Just don't care. Like, I just don't. That's not a movie franchise that I cared about in the first place. I barely remember even seeing those movies, and it looked. I mean, just the idea of like Danny McBride doing a new Crocodile Dundee movie just sounds really fucking stupid. So either way, if it was getting made or not, my interest level is exactly the same. I just don't care.
Yeah. I have to echo Jake literally like word for word on that, because I wrote 0 because, yeah, I feel like, didn't we all know that it wasn't? Because that was literally
fake.
Like part of the headline attached.
It was immediately like as soon as we all saw that, I saw that, at your house this weekend, and we were all like, that just shows how much we follow movie news and everything, because that we were immediately like, oh, okay, well, it says it's coming out at the end of this year, but he's doing Halloween right now, so he can't be like we were just like, it just can't be real.
Also, they would have told us, but no, I had the same feeling. I was like, dude, this is not going to happen. Yeah. And yeah, with the Super Bowl coming up, there's always shit like that where it's like, is it real or is it the Super Bowl? So also,
I like that voice.
Thank you.
It's my
Super Bowl voice.
I want you to work on that character.
I will. It's thank you. Do we have to watch the Super Bowl in order to see a new trailer this year?
Yeah, they'll all be online.
Oh, okay, good.
Because we still don't have the Han Solo trailer.
So we don't have to suffer through the
My quick
Super
chime
Bowl.
in is that I never thought it was something I'd want to see, but I would watch Danny McBride basically in anything. So if it's a Crocodile Dundee movie with him and Chris Hemsworth going through the Australian desert, sign me up. But it's not happening. So fuck it. You guys ready for the last one here?
Yep.
Let's do it.
All
Doing
right.
it.
The Oscar nominations are out. We did our 2017 year in review a couple weeks ago. We talked about all of our favorite movies, and because we have such good taste, it seems like a lot of the films that we really loved are also being recognized by the Academy. Shape of Water has the most nominations, I believe. It's up for Best Film, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay. Best
lead actress,
supporting actress, supporting actor, Richard Jenkins, Octavia Spencer, all of them. Shape of Water, tons of nominations. What else? Oh, God, now I'm drawing a bunch of blanks. Get Out, nominated. Jordan Peele, Best Director, Best Picture. Did you guys see the nominations, and how many fucks do you give, Ab?
I give 2 fucks, because that's all I have left to give, and I'm giving them all because of what you just said. I obviously loved The Shape of Water. I was raving about it in our last couple episodes, and it was my favorite movie of 2017, so I will be watching the Oscars, and I do care this year. I liked Get Out a lot as well. So, yeah, I'm invested, and I want to see, some people that I care about win. So.
Jake, you haven't seen Dunkirk, have you?
No.
Neither have I.
Guys,
how are you the only one of the three of us who saw Dunkirk?
It was a father-daughter movie date, so, you know.
Wow.
Didn't your dad say he hated it?
My dad hated it, and I'm like, I wouldn't say, I'm kind of indifferent. Like, it's a war movie. It had Tom Hardy. I remember I was disappointed because Tom Hardy's face was covered most of the movie. Sorry.
Jake, how many fucks, man?
I gave it 1 fuck just because, like, these kind of award shows, I don't know. They kind of seem to be full of shit.
Yeah, they really are.
And they're just kind of pointless. I haven't seen, I've seen a few of these films. Some of them are still in the theater.
Yeah, still got to see the post.
Some that I really want to see, like Phantom Thread, is just not even playing in my area at all, so I can't see it. But I gave it 1 fuck just because I also thought Shape of Water was the best movie of the year. And even though, these award shows are always kind of weird and sometimes the movies that win, I don't know. I seem to not agree with them a lot of the times.
Right.
You still want to see Shape of Water do well. Like, it's such a weird little movie, and I really love it, and I really love Guillermo del Toro, so I want it to win a bunch of shit. So I gave it 1 fuck for that.
Cool.
For sure.
Well, we will know soon. Shape of Water, hope it wins. Get Out, I hope Jordan Peele wins Best Director. I think that'd be really fucking awesome.
It made me happy.
Well, cool. That was a pretty successful fuck budget, but guys, Kurt Fuller from Ghostbusters 2 is going to be up next here on the S House.
He's going to lie to us and kiss our butts.
Well, let's hope so.
Hope so.
Now, where are the Ghostbusters?
They're not available.
What do you mean they're not available?
Well, I had them committed to the psychiatric ward at Parkview Hospital.
You what?
They were threatening to go to the press. I was protecting your interests.
Yeah? Uh-huh. Well, you can stop protecting my interests. You have exactly 3 minutes to clear out. You're fired!
But the
Harry,
election...
remove this man from the building and get me the Ghostbusters!
Mr. Mayor, come take a look at this.
Craig, it wasn't easy, but here we are.
I know it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys. I looked you up. I sort of know what you look like.
All right. Very cool.
I have a visual. So
I'm the girl
we're all
one.
good. Yes. Yes.
That's me.
You're Abigail.
Yeah. Hi. How you doing, Craig?
Yeah.
Nice.
Very well, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
And where are you guys?
We are in Atlanta, Georgia. Craig and I.
Oh, Atlanta, Georgia. Yes. My brother lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, very cool.
And one of my close friends, James Roday, is there directing The Resident.
Okay.
Which is shooting in Atlanta.
Yeah,
we've
got a ton of stuff going on.
Oh,
in the
I know.
Industry here. Have you been down here at all to shoot anything?
Well, to visit my brother, but I've shot 2 things there. Mm-hmm. One was No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan in 1987.
Okay.
All right, I stayed at the Lanier Plaza Hotel.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hope is still not there in Buckhead, but it's really not. It was really on its last legs then.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shot the one where the girl was a model and then she became plus-sized.
Drop Dead Diva.
And Drop Dead Diva. Yes, I played her father.
Yes.
That's right. But it was obviously wasn't very memorable. So.
I don't want to do any bragging here, but I was a background actor on Drop Dead Diva for 1 day.
One episode.
There you go.
So
there you go. Well, good. So we both contributed about the same, I'm going to say.
Absolutely. to full context, we're giant Ghostbusters nerds, so we could probably go longer than you think we could.
I can do that. It's only that I have to put on pasta water at 6:45, or my wife's going to get upset.
That's okay. We understand.
That's why.
We understand.
Because she's picking up our youngest daughter, and it's my job. It's my one job.
That's good.
So
you got to do it.
You got to do it.
Understand.
You better believe I have to do it.
Okay.
Oh man, I haven't done anything all day. It's the one thing she's asked me to do. If I blow this, I'm in big trouble.
Put the water on.
We know that. We've all been there.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the one thing. Well, cool. Well, right now, on the line, we are with Kurt Fuller, a wonderful man who's agreed to spend some time with Yes Have Some podcast, and we reached out to you on Twitter, of all places.
Yes,
and
that's right.
We said, listen, we're giant Ghostbusters fans. We want to talk about Ghostbusters 2, and whether or not you know it, and maybe you do, you are a beloved figure in the Ghostbusters community, and we wanted to...
Really?
You really are.
I mean, I have a card. I know I have a card. I have a Ghostbusters card. That I know.
The trading card, the signed one.
Yeah, I have a trading card. I signed a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So last year or 2 years ago, there was a set of Ghostbusters cards from Cryptozoic and had a bunch of signatures. And
correct.
I promise you, people like Jack Hardemeyer.
Absolutely.
It's a character we grew up with.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like my whole life is just taking a turn. I thank you. That's exciting news because really, that's been holding me back for about 20, 25 years. So thank you.
Right. And the next time you go in for a role, just let them know that you're a big deal when it comes to the three mouth breathers in Atlanta who you talk to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Believe me, I will. I'll use anything I can.
Cool. Good. Well, so we really appreciate you stopping by. I guess let's start with Ghostbusters 2, 1989. I mean, Ghostbusters was a huge deal. It was a huge deal when it came out. And I guess this was early on in your career. When you are reading for a part like this and it's a part of a major franchise, did you approach it any differently than you had at that point?
I approached every audition with abject terror at the time. So I would say I'll tell you, I was selling real estate at the time in Los Angeles, doing theater, and I did a play that was very successful. And Harold Ramis's first wife came to see it 8 times.
Wow.
Okay? And she said, Harold, you've got to see this. So he saw it. And then he came back and talked to me and said and arranged. I mean, really, I owe this to Harold Ramis. May he rest in peace. He arranged for me to read for a part with Ivan Reitman. And I don't know if it made it into the movie. It might have. But I think it ended up being played by Gilbert Gottfried. A desk catches on fire. Or there was a scene. I don't know if I can't remember anymore.
Okay,
but
that doesn't sound familiar. So
no.
Okay, so it didn't make it in, but I think they shot it. I think I saw it on some other secret cut that nobody's seen or something. So you guys think you know everything.
We gotta hear about it.
We
yeah.
do.
Well, you just mentioned Gilbert Gottfried, and I was like, wait, what?
Perked up. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But then apparently. I'm talking out of school, but I know he won't mind. William Atherton wanted, I guess, a whole bunch of money to do Ghostbusters 2.
Okay.
Or they couldn't make a deal with him. Let's put it that way. The nice way is they couldn't make a deal with him.
Got it.
And so Ivan Reitman thought of me from the previous audition, so I didn't have to read for this part. But I was offered the part. There was no negotiating for me. William Atherton had done some great stuff. This was like one of my first jobs, except for the Hulk Hogan movie,
right?
No Holds Barred. So, this was a big step up. And I fly to New York. I don't think I'd ever been to New York. I'm staying at a big hotel. I'm completely overwhelmed. I think I've gone to heaven. And then the next day, I'm taken to the set. It's snowing, and the first scene was what finally gets slimed. I don't know what building they called it. Was it the library or the history?
The museum.
The museum. And I was supposed to go up there, and it was a scene with Bill Murray, who I knew from Ghostbusters and Saturday Night Live. And he was a god to me. And I was told just before the scene started, already I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if it still doesn't like you, it's not going to happen.
Oh my God.
we can.
Okay,
thanks.
So your stress level's up.
Yeah, and sort of like, thank you. Okay, good to know. Mm-hmm. So I went there and I overacted very, very badly, and Bill went. He said, "Boy, my goodness, you're bringing a lot of energy to this." And I said, yeah, he was trying to be nice. And then Ivan came up to me and said, "Do less than you ever thought it was possible to do." I said, "Oh man, I'm so close to losing this job. So close to losing this job." So I did less than I thought. I mean, I thought I was almost somnambulant. I thought I was sleepwalking. Mm-hmm. And they both went, "Great, perfect." And so I kept the job. And when I see it today, I was still overacting. That's how little I knew about film acting.
Yeah, the process,
it's just, there's going from stage to film. I don't, it's hard. You have to go way, 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 way down. And I just didn't know how to do it yet. And so, God bless them. They didn't fire me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience. And it was terrifying, honestly.
I got stressed out listening to you tell that story, because that being in New York for your first time and then working with Bill Murray for the first scene, that's
give me a break.
Yeah,
give me a break. And they had asked me to lunch, and I'm there with all of the guys from Saturday Night Live and Harold Ramis, and we're having lunch, and they're talking to me like a normal person, and I just honestly, it was like being in a dream the whole time for me. I was not a vet. Yeah. So, I mean, I got started late.
Right.
And because I sort of, I wasn't really a type when I came I was already losing my hair. I was already old. And I had to get a little older to make it, to actually play old. Mm-hmm. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. And when,
I mean, I go ahead.
No, well, I was going to ask you, how many, so the shoot, I'm guessing, was several months. How many were you...
Yes.
On set for a lot of days, or did you take care of most of your stuff pretty quickly?
Yes. They did not get it done quickly. I was there. I was there for like 2 months, and then this is the great thing about show business, which I didn't understand. I didn't work for a month, but they paid me the whole month.
Oh, wow.
They had to pay me. Oh my God. That's when I knew I had to keep going.
Right.
Guess I'll just sit around and watch Bill Murray today.
Yeah.
Because there was one scene they wanted to shoot over my shoulder, okay? They wouldn't do this anymore, but they had so much money then, and it was Ghostbusters. So they wanted just my left shoulder, and they paid me for a month.
Oh,
and I came back, and the camera was over my left shoulder, and the cameraman said, "Nah, this doesn't work." And they said, "Okay, we don't need you." And I was never even in the shot, but I got paid for a month.
Right.
So I mean, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great. And I think
that's the dream.
I feel like with Ghostbusters 2, I know there was some rewrites and some reshoots, and people came back. So I've read the historians will say that there was some tumultuous moments, during the filming process and getting locking down the story.
It's a bunch of really creative people, and what people call tumultuous, I have since learned, and I did Wayne's World with some more of those kinds of people, and, another 50 movies or so. Yeah, another 50 movies or so. And that's called a bunch of really creative people trying to beat out an idea, and they don't have time to be nice. and the creative process gets messy, but it's never done with ill feeling. It's only done with passion, and that's just called creative passion. So it may have been tumultuous, but it was not negative in any way, shape, or form. Those are all really good people.
Got it.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah, when you have passion and all that creativity going on behind the scenes.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I get it.
And think about it. They'd done the first Ghostbusters, which was that's the iconic Ghostbusters. And they were trying so hard not to screw this up. And they had a high bar.
Yeah.
It's stressful. Of course it is. It's stressful. Everybody has an ego. Everybody has, when you get a career going and you're known for things, you want to be good. You don't want to screw up and have people go what you always are afraid they're going to go. See, he's not that good. He was fooling us.
Right. Yeah, he's lost.
He fooled us. He fooled us on the other one. So everybody's always afraid of that in show business. That people are going to find out that you're really not that good, and because it ain't brain surgery, Right. And so it gets passionate, but it never got mean or nasty or anything like that.
Yeah,
and I was there, believe me.
Yeah, no, that's really good to hear because you hear, especially with Ghostbusters 2, you're on the shoulder of a giant, or the shoulders of giants.
Correct.
A giant.
Correct.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, would you? And at that time, people are starting to do more sequels, and franchises are becoming a thing. And like you said, you just don't want to screw it up. And I think there's a little bit we are proud members of the Ghostbusters fan community, and I can point to lots of personal friends and people I've met who like Ghostbusters 2 more than the first one because that was the one that they went and saw in theaters for the first time and had the VHS, and it was more commercialized, and they have more of a fond memory of it.
But objectively, I think most people would agree that Ghostbusters 1 is a superior movie to Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 1,
I think,
is my favorite movie of all time.
It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect.
Yeah, because it is kind of perfect. Yeah, it is. And Ghostbusters 2, if there had been no Ghostbusters 1, would be regarded as a spectacular film. But because Ghostbusters 1 exists, it's not as it doesn't hit all the notes that Ghostbusters 1 did. Right. Because number one, you're hearing it for the second time, or probably the eighth time, because most people saw Ghostbusters 1 a bunch of times.
Right.
Exactly.
I think the only sequel that was better than the first one was The Godfather 2, Godfather Part 2, which was better than Godfather Part 1. But except for that, and maybe
Terminator 2.
The second Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
maybe.
Empire,
but,
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but that's very rare, and I think, given how difficult it was, and the fact that in that world, having the Statue of Liberty walking down the streets of New York was not, for some reason, you were thinking, but it's not the Stay Puft Marshmallow. It's so cute. It's like, what are you going to do? You can't win. We made the Statue of Liberty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we we've watched it a lot. All that stuff holds up. Like for that time, the effects and the things that they were doing at that time,
I know.
Everything looks really good. One thing we definitely wanted to ask you about when the Blu-ray came out a couple years ago, they had the deleted scenes, and your scene in front of the museum was never in the film, and it's now available, and it's a great scene. What is that like?
That's the one where I almost got fired.
Right. And that's what I thought. That's how they got you.
Right.
They cut it from the movie.
Got it.
They kept you on, but they cut it.
I haven't seen it. Jeez.
Oh, have you not seen it?
No.
It's on
Nobody
YouTube.
tells me anything.
I've got the clip.
We'll send you the link.
Yeah, I've got the link.
Will you?
Yeah,
definitely.
We'll send you the link. It's on YouTube. And it's a fun scene. It's after you had already been the character, not you. You stayed on the movie, but Jack gets fired for committing the Ghostbusters. And actually, before you came on, we were kind of commiserating on you must have had some strings that you were pulling there to get these 4 world-renowned scientists committed in about 10 minutes.
Notable guys.
Yeah, I know. It was sort of a suspension of disbelief,
Yeah.
Jay, that was Jake's point that he brought up.
Thanks,
not
Jake.
to steal your thunder,
point.
Jake.
Very,
good point.
You're
good.
We're
good.
One. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that you're the smart one.
That's what they say.
Thanks.
So when you film something like that, and you obviously you have a memory of doing that scene and working with Bill Murray, and then when you see the movie and it's not there, is that heartbreaking, or is it just one of those things as an actor that it just comes with the territory?
Well, now you got to remember. Now I'm like an old grizzled vet. Nothing phases me. It doesn't matter what you do to me now. It's already been done. But then I thought, oh God, okay, I sucked. I was bad. I'm no good. I was horrible, and I couldn't even make it into the movie. They must be very upset. And I took everything personally, everything. So yeah, I thought, and maybe it's true because I was freaking out. But most things are cut for time,
right.
And when you're not one of the stars, you're the first one to go, and they're the last one to go. So
right.
That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, yes, it's a very horrible feeling.
I imagine. I know how these guys react when I edit 2 minutes out of the podcast. They're like, "Hey, I had some good lines in there. Yeah. What are you doing to me?"
That's right. That's what we call
it's all personal. It's all personal.
They call it killing your babies.
Yeah.
They call it.
It's painful.
Stop killing my babies, Craig.
Yeah, I know it.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm attached.
Killing your babies and stealing your thunder.
Yeah,
that's right.
So you mentioned, Harold Ramis, obviously. Bill Murray's always kind of a mystery. He's the least accessible of the original cast, I would say. And Dan Aykroyd's very fan-friendly, and so is Ernie Hudson. But most of us never got the chance to, meet or interact or spend any time with Harold Ramis. What was your experience working with him like?
Harold Ramis, we became friends, and I did Stuart Saves His Family. I almost did Groundhog Day, but there was a conflict, and we would hang out with each other and his wife Erica. I knew before Harold knew her, actually, and he was just a genuinely nice, brilliant, funny guy, and basically the guy you see in any of the movies he did. He was a much more talented writer and director than he was an actor, but he was a very funny actor. But he, you go see Harold Ramis, and we talked about our families and our kids, and just life. It wasn't nothing show busy about it. He was just a real, genuine, wonderful guy. I mean, it's just a real when people go too soon, it just, and it just shows you that all the money in the world, if you're going to go, it can't save you. It just cannot save you because he I don't think they really knew what he had, actually. Mm-hmm. It was a mystery thing, and they did everything they could to figure it out and could not. Mm-hmm. So, really tragic.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's a very inspirational dude, though. There's some conversations out there, I think on YouTube, between him and Rainn Wilson, just talking about his perspective on life and his Buddhishness, which is his own term for his belief system. And I watched those and cried when he passed, and it was a big deal for all of us as fans. Yeah. But that's very cool that you got to spend some time with him and became close.
Oh yeah,
very
he cool. Was. He was a good man, and Bill Murray. No one says no one says you have to open up your life or whatever. Yeah. Right. There are a lot of actors who feel like they should stay mysterious. That if you know too much about them personally, you won't buy their performances because you won't be able to distinguish between the person that you sort of know and and the person on the screen. And he may be one of those people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people like that.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, it does.
Yes.
It makes sense for somebody who's a big star. It makes no sense for me. Don't ask me anything.
Are you good? Are you good? Do you need to go turn the
water going?
Get the pasta going or whatever?
What time is it?
Your family's asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, 6:24. No, it's okay. I'm okay. I really don't have to do it until 6:45.
Okay. Cool. Well, we will. We will keep you abreast of the situation.
Okay.
Got that timer go.
So once the movie comes out and you're kind of like you've done No Holds Barred, which is kind of that has a cult following. I'm a pro wrestling.
It does
fan,
now.
So, yeah, it does. Maybe not at the time. Maybe it didn't.
At the time, it didn't really make a splash.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Ghostbusters.
It opened on the same weekend as Indiana Jones. Let me put that.
Okay.
Oh boy.
That's a tough hit.
So,
yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah, that's what you tell people when they're like, "Oh, I didn't see that." Well, you listen. The reason is Harrison Ford was involved.
I once,
sorry for your loss.
I had I was doing a sitcom that was opposite American Idol at its height.
Okay.
And we all in show business called American Idol the Death Star. And nobody could live in the same time slot as American Idol. So sometimes it's just it's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Damn you, Ryan Seacrest.
I know.
Yeah.
But when I was selling real estate in the Pacific Palisades, and I had sold real estate for 9 years and did theater. Some of the greatest times of my life actually was working for nothing, really.
Yeah.
Because I was just figuring out I was not a great actor when I got to LA, and I feel like only now, 30-something years later, I don't think since Ghostbusters 2 I've ever been out of work for more than a couple of months in my whole life, which is really, I made up for starting. I was 34 when I did Ghostbusters 2, and I think something like that. And 34, that's very late to start to get your first job as a real job as an actor. It changed my life, completely changed my life. I was out of real estate, I think 3 months later, and when I made half as much money acting as I was in real estate, I told myself I'd quit. And the second I had made half as much, I was out of there.
Right.
And it really opened up. It changed it opened up. People here, they don't want to be the first one to say yes. So, because you can get in trouble if it doesn't work out. So if somebody else says yes, like Ivan Reitman at the time, and Ghostbusters, well, oh my God, well, they hired him, let's hire him.
Right,
and all of a sudden, I became very hireable because somebody took a chance on me, and that's probably true for everyone.
Right.
Nobody wants to stick their neck out. So if somebody else does.
How different is it these days? Because I know, like, you read things like, this person has 50,000 Twitter followers, let's hire them. Like, is it frustrating as an actor to deal with
image crafting and that kind of stuff? Like,
it's the way it is. And the good part about it is that instead of waiting for someone to discover you, you can get yourself out there and show people what you can do and what you're about, and they can decide. And I think that's a really positive part of it. The other part of it, I think I have 40,000 Twitter followers, but I think it's only because I played this beloved character on this series called Psych.
Right.
And we're making 2 more Psych movies this year. It's just amazing. The show that will not end.
We were going to ask you about that.
I know.
That show has a tremendous so it's funny. We kind of asked our listeners, like, hey, we're, submit your questions about Ghostbusters, and they were all about Psych. So we're like, hey guys.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right.
Psych has a real following.
That's really awesome. That's really, really cool.
So hey, it's good. It's good. I enjoy it. And another one where, we're all friends, but, now, I mean, I couldn't possibly. I don't like to go out I'm 64 years old now. I don't go out at night and go, I don't go anywhere to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to be seen. Mm-hmm. So it takes a tremendous amount of, it's a job, image crafting, and you have to work your ass off to do it. So, it's not like something that comes easily. That's a whole nother job. And if people want to do that and it works, then, that's just going with the times. Yeah. And I have no problem with it at all. I think it's entertainment, but I don't think it's performance. It's entertainment in that you gain notoriety for certain things you do, but you're not performing. There's not an art to it. Mm-hmm. It's more of a craft. Right. Yeah. So it's a whole different deal. But that might be what people want now. I don't know. I'm not the person who judges.
Yeah. Right. You've got water to boil.
Yeah, I do. I got pasta to cook.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't have time for Instagram when got my wife demanding the dinner to be ready.
That's right.
So I did want to ask. This is something we're all major collectors here of things like toys and action figures. Now, there has been 2
memorabilia
Walter Peck action figures, and we don't have a Jack action figure. Like, what can we do to make this happen for the people? Because
I don't, why not? Why isn't there a Jack? There was. I know this, but nobody told me. I think they were afraid I was going to ask for money or something. There was a Ghostbusters cartoon, and there were comics where Jack played a big part. Apparently,
right.
In
comes
them.
into play.
Well, why no doll? Why no action figure?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what we're saying.
I don't understand. It's not like nobody cares. If nobody cares, don't put me in the cartoon. Don't put me in the comic. Right?
The people have spoken.
So you've already admitted that people do care, but there's no action figure. I'm walking through my house to the kitchen right now.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no action figure.
We're gonna make the call.
Very upset.
Well, it makes no sense.
I know.
Right. It doesn't. I was gonna bring that up too because like Diamond Select is literally about to put out a Ghostbusters 2 specific line.
Yeah.
What?
So it's happening. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Let's get them on next week and deal with them.
Again, you see?
Yeah.
You see that? Again, I'm nobody.
No respect.
I love the idea of
it's
like
unbelievable.
You not knowing like your wife is home already, and you're on the phone yelling about why is there no action?
Where's my doll?
And she's
I know. Listen, they're not going to they're putting out a Ghostbusters 2 specific line?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But we're getting
not a Ghostbusters 3?
Well,
well, that was our next question.
They tried.
They tried.
Well, you know what? That just shows you the power of chemistry.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
absolutely.
Those are all really talented, funny people, but you get four people together, and it either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, there's nothing you can do about it.
Can't force it.
Not that it doesn't work, but it's not you can't force the magical part of it.
Yeah, you can't fix it in
Right.
post. Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
We were big supporters of that, and we were extremely open-minded, and we wanted it to be great, and, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully,
we were on the bandwagon, so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it sounds like they're going to maybe go back to the drawing board and you know, try it again in a different manner. Well, we'll see what happens.
Whatever. Whatever, you know.
Love it.
You can do whatever you want.
Before we let you go, for pasta time, I wanted to ask you about so obviously Psych has a big
yes, sir.
I was just doing a thing in my head. Hulk Hogan used to have a restaurant chain called Pasta Mania.
Oh,
so, and now I'm connecting.
My God!
I'm connecting the no holds barred thing here. So when you do leave the house before sunset and you're out and about, and people recognize you, do you interact with people who recognize you from Ghostbusters, or is it more like, hey, I know you from Psych or Wayne's World?
It's usually Wayne's World.
Okay.
Although I went to some events on the 25th anniversary of Wayne's World, and watched it, it does not hold up as well as Ghostbusters 2 does.
Oh boy,
that's a hot
Wayne's World.
That's a hot take.
Hot take.
Wayne's World seems dated. It seems like, okay, that took place in the late 80s, 90s, and now it looks sort of like antique.
Okay.
The humor doesn't hold up. Ghostbusters is classic. It's still classic. It works. It doesn't matter. Yes. It doesn't matter. The special effects are good enough that you don't go, oh, look at how cheesy that is. There's no wires or anything. It's still, it was computer generated and stuff, a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Although the hopping chairs were not in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah. That's a fantastic scene. We love the courtroom scene.
Oh, yeah, we do.
I'm just judging the movies by their longevity. I just think Ghostbusters 2, I just think it holds up better as just a movie. Mm-hmm. And it's more enjoyable all the way through. Mm-hmm. So
fair enough.
Ghostbusters 1 really holds up.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but it is mostly Wayne's World, because I don't know why. A lot of it is Psych. Sometimes it's Ghostbusters 2, and sometimes it's some weird little movie I did that I never thought anybody saw. So,
well, I remember being. So let's see. I'm 34 almost now, so I remember seeing Scary Movie in theaters, and it was a big deal as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I remember you popping
up
me
in a Speedo.
Yeah. And you popping up on the screen. I'm like, oh my God, that's, like saying things like, no, guys, that's my favorite actor. He's in my two favorite movies, Ghostbusters 2 and Wayne's World. You don't understand. I think the thing with Wayne's World...
Scary Movie was a funny movie.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
I haven't seen it in a while.
Funny.
I haven't seen it in a while.
I know. Well, they kind of diluted it with 9 other scary movies. But
I think the thing with Wayne's World is there's a lot of memorable one-liners in the... I think the thing, like... When me and my pals are hanging out, the countdown for the camera, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
People do that to me all the time. They do that back to me all the time.
Yeah.
It's just one. I don't know why it's so funny. It's just funny.
Right.
Yeah.
That and the.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That and the. Well, I think you want to talk about chemistry. I think you and Rob Lowe had great chemistry. I think you guys are.
I agree.
Definitely.
And the. I assure you, those were not written on the cards when he was given.
Yes.
He blows goats. Yeah. I have proof. Like that. That's
I know. That's funny. That's funny. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, listen. We really appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us and talk shop a little bit about Ghostbusters 2.
It was actually it was my pleasure. We really talked about more than that. I feel like you're limiting what we talked about. We talked about a lot of things.
We talked about a lot.
Good stuff.
Covered some ground.
We talked about pasta.
We did.
Yeah.
We talked about
it's an important thing.
People don't talk about it.
We talked about
enough.
certain people. Yeah. I don't want to go. People are going to listen. I don't want to then go through everything we just talked about.
Right, exactly.
I just feel
Here's
like
the rundown.
Here's the rundown. We talked about Ghostbusters 2.
Right.
Unless you cut it down to just Ghostbusters 2 stuff and then play this, I'm going to sound stupid.
No, it's just going to be all pasta.
We're just no. What we'll do is we'll cut it down to about 30 seconds and be like, he just brought so much energy. It was just a little too much.
He just wouldn't stop talking about pasta.
Please open with the pasta. That's all I want. It humanizes me, really.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, you guys.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Before you head
absolutely.
out,
when on the 50th anniversary of Ghostbusters 2, you can come to my grave.
Okay, that's the plan. We'll do a podcast.
Reach me.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll have a figure by then.
Yeah, we'll have the action figure.
Exactly.
Yes.
Bring the action figure and put it on my
we
head.
We
did it. Well, listen, next year's the 25th anniversary next year. 30th.
Right, we'll call
30th next year. We'll call
30?
it 30 next year. Yeah, 30.
All right, well, we got to get together for the 30th.
We gotta. We
doing it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kurt Fuller.
You're on.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy the pasta.
Thank you to Kurt Fuller for joining us. That was about the most fun I've had in a while.
Dude,
he's a nice dude. He's very fun to listen to talk.
Hey man, some good insight. There's some stuff I never heard before. I mean, just to hear what it was like on set. for some, like, because you know when he's talking about like being friends with Harold Ramis and he's talking about his relationship, like in my head I'm like, I wish I was friends with Harold.
Dude, I was jealous the entire time he was talking about getting there, being paid to have lunch, and like not working for a month. I was like, no way.
I was very stressed out for him for something that happened 30 years ago when he's talking about how he didn't really have there wasn't really a process of like, he just kind of got jumped right into doing the movie,
right?
Yeah,
and showed up, and they're like, "All right, do a scene. If you're not good, we're just going to fire you." And he's just
Bill
like
Murray doesn't like you,
thrown right into talking to Bill Murray.
Oh, are you talking about Kurt Fuller's "What's Stressin'"?
Yeah,
that's what that was. He did a "What's Stressin'" that he's been waiting for 30 years to tell somebody that.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and like, okay, on Wednesday afternoons, like 8 hours before we podcast, Abby's running around the house, going, "We need a rundown. We need to
What's
be
he
prepared."
gonna talk about?
I'm like, yeah. From now on, it'd be like Kurt Fuller had to go face to face with the Hurricane.
Yeah,
with no padding.
No padding. Yeah.
So I was glad he brought up No Holds Barred because I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
No, that was a lot of fun.
That was good talk.
And listen, we really appreciate it. I think that our listeners will enjoy what he had to say.
Totally, for sure.
Once we build up more of a repertoire, he'll call and be like, "Hey, time for the Kurt Fuller fuck budget." We'll just start throwing.
Budget, dude.
God, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
I want him to invite us over for pasta.
It's gonna happen.
I want to have dinner.
I like how we developed an inside joke very quickly,
dude. So fast, we slid in.
Well, that's how you. That's how you get to know folks.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what you got to do.
Well, listen. Did you guys have anything else before we sign off here?
I'm gonna go boil some water.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
No, but I am hungry. So that's just a little fact.
As a coming attraction for the next couple of weeks, we got some stuff lined up next week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the YHS audience is not going to believe who we're having on next.
They're
week.
not. They're not going to believe what's happening.
Y'all sit down. Okay?
Y'all sit down.
They're sit.
Let's give it to them.
Let's give it to them. Next week, we will be having Paul from Chronicle Collectibles.
Whoa.
He's going to be joining.
Hide your comments. Delete your episodes. Just get ready.
Chronicle Collectibles. They're celebrating Jurassic Park 25th anniversary in Jurassic World in a big way. And Toy Fair's coming up. They got a lot of new products. And they're going to come and we're going to talk toys next week.
It's going to be good.
Because the Yes have some audience.
It's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
The universe deserves Toy Talk. They deserve Ghostbusters Talk.
Yes.
Right.
More than anything.
They deserve pasta.
They deserve some pasta.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Well, this was a lot of fun. And as always, if you want to chime in on the conversation, make sure you get to Facebook. Yes, Have Some Group Therapy. It's our official Facebook group. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at YHS Podcast. And make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube.com. Search Yes, Have Some. You'll find us. We got Wookiees and Cookies Episode 1. Going strong. Episode 2 is right around the corner. We got a lot of fun stuff. Guys, 2018 is starting off with a bang. What do you guys think?
Boom. It's good.
It's good?
Dude.
I was just waiting for more,
Pow.
I was just waiting for more of those, yeah.
Smash.
That was good.
Those are good.
Kablam.
Kabooey.
Thank you.
Kabooey?
I don't
That's
like
not a real thing.
Booey.
Oh, God. It was so hard for me to not just start quoting lines from Ghostbusters.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because that's just what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys that, like, I started to take notes, for when we got him on the show, and the only note I took was 3,000,001. That's all I got.
It's so good.
That's great, man.
And, we didn't get to everything we wanted to cover, but hey, we'll have him back on.
Mm-hmm. Next year.
Next year. For the anniversary. Or, like he said, for the 50th, when he's dead.
Yeah. Dude, I like that.
You like that?
I liked it. I liked him. I enjoyed talking. I'm going to call him again. No.
Just call him back.
Guys, remember.
Hey.
Listen.
How's dinner?
For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, my name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you to our special guest, Mr. Jack Hardemeyer himself, Kurt Fuller. We talked Ghostbusters. We thank you all. We will see you next week. Until then, get in the Statue of Liberty and walk that way.
Oh.
Ooh, that's it. That's the ending for this. You want to try it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Set your timers.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? She's French.
See? Quoting works.
Quoting
Stick
works.
to that.
Yeah,
There
do
you
the
go.
quotes. Quotes are good.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Yes, have some podcast. Bye.
Night.
Later.